setting up and supplies for your hand stitch sampler. So you will need a piece of muslin in a solid color. It doesn't matter what color it is, but it should be a solid color, 10 inches in width and then 14 inches in the length. Make sure you have a really good pair of embroidery scissors. I really highly recommend that this is a scissor that you spend some money on, because having a good scissor with really sharp points really helps a lot for sewing. And then your needle. Make sure when you have your hand sewing needle that you use a sharp, what's called a sharp. A sharp is kind of the basic needle that's used in hand sewing. You'll see lots of other hand needles out there that are embroidery, millinery, quilting, carpet, all kinds of threads in various lengths and widths. Beading, you'll see beading is a really long, narrow needle, but what you want to use is a sharp, is called a sharp. And get a good size. They do come in different lengths. Get a good size one, because you're going to be going through, quite a few layers of wool. And then, of course, your contrasting thread so that we can see the stitches you're practicing on your sampler. And a piece of beeswax. Now, you can get beeswax in the supply store, and it comes in a round disc with little slits that guide the thread. But you can also use old candles. You actually can use regular candles too. The beeswax just seems to work a little bit better. So these are the supplies you're going to need for doing your hand sampler and for doing your sewing. The one thing I didn't mention down here is a needle threader, which I'll quickly show you how to use just in case you don't know what that thing is for that keeps showing up in your supply kits. Okay, so let's go on and see how to get set up. Waxing and threading. So simply, you're going to take a piece of thread. Your thread should never be longer than your arm, and you never use it double unless I tell you to. Always use it singly. And then all you're simply going to do is to take the thread and just to pass it through the wax, leaving a good coat on it. This is going to uncrimp it, prevent those little annoying knots when you're trying to sew something together, and actually it also helps to strengthen the thread when you're sewing, which is good for tailoring. Then threading it, I've put my threader, my wires, through the eye of the needle, and then I'm simply going to take my thread and put it through the wires. And then pull the wires through, and my needle's threaded. This helps to speed things up a little bit. Then I'm going to take my end and knot it, and I'm ready to go. My thread is waxed. I've got a good length, and I'm ready to start working on my sampler.